So of course we've mainly been talking about Street Fighter 4, which is the focus of the competitive world at the moment. But next year, very soon, February the 16th, right?
Yes, that's when the game comes out.
February the 16th, Street Fighter 5. I know Kim is eagerly looking forward to it.
Kind of.
What are your thoughts on? I mean, obviously, we can talk about different things. We can talk about what our thoughts of the game are, and also how we think it's going to affect the FGC as well, because I think that's an important discussion to have as well. But have you had any sort of time with the game at all, Kim?
I've had 40 minutes. 40 minutes a month ago, and I only played one character.
So you're an expert in Street Fighter 5. You should go on Event Hubs right now and start writing essays about the game.
I'll openly admit I don't have enough experience with the game, but I do feel that if we had more variety, because I didn't play the Dhalsim version, so I don't know how good he is.
His stuff's really slow. Like his range stuff is incredibly slow.
Really?
Yeah.
What version are you? I mean, not what version, but you're able to play it on Tuesdays or whatever. Is that when your stream is?
Now and then. We're not like, it's not like we get free access to it or anything. I've played like the Dhalsim, but I watched F Word play Matt Edwards at Capcom, which we had on our When It Stays On session stream. You can check the video on the Capcom Fighters YouTube channel, and a lot of his long range stuff is really, really slow.
Are you sure you can cancel like long range stuff in that game? Or like,
yeah, you can cancel his all his moves into his V trigger. His flame.
What is his V trigger?
The flame carpet thing.
Yeah, he's a flame carpet. It does damage over time. You stand in it, and
gray damage. Does
obviously
damage.
it gives him like a something to do, something to reset the situation.
It's kind of unique.
It's actually really interesting for a character like Dhalsim. I think he's always going to be that character where he has a high skill ceiling with also a high skill high skill floor, because you can't just pick him up and beat people, right? Like it takes a lot of practice. Right. But I do think he's really good, even though he does seem slower. You have to play him a little bit differently. You have to play him like you know how Champ plays Dhalsim now, like he's really slippery. That's how you have to play him all the time in 5.
What is the point of that like carpet moving move that he has in the air? He doesn't teleport, but he just like flies.
Oh, his V skill in the air.
Yeah.
Wait. So he has a V skill in the air as well.
Yeah. No, that is his V skill, right? He hasn't got. Can he do that on the ground?
He could do it. He could do it in the air and the ground. So if you do it on the ground, he floats up like he.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And you can
just jump
right?
and do it.
Yeah.
It's just to make him more mobile, but not in a conventional way. In his own special way.
It looks slow. I mean, is it useful?
Yeah. I mean, you have to use everything. You have to use that. You need to, because you can't be predictable with your movement with him.
Right.
You have to do stuff all the time, because if you get locked down in that game, it's over. The offense is so good in that game, so the more slippery you are with him, the better. But it's going to take a lot of practice for returning Dhalsim players, I think, because you can't control the horizontal range as easily, because you don't have a normal Yoga Fire, right?
No,
you have to use EX.
Oh, that's right.
It's like
it's weird,
parabolic type of.
Right. Yeah. So his new horizontal fireball is pretty much his standing medium punch.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I think if you go into Street Fighter 5 Dhalsim with any sort of preconceptions of Street Fighter 4 Dhalsim, you're doing it wrong, because his normals are so different. He's lost all of his close normals, right? So and a lot of his far range normals are very different also. The properties of them.
Does he have any controllable limbs, like past games?
Any what? Sorry.
Controllable limbs, like hold back, press roundhouse, hold back.
Oh, command. Yeah.
He has back medium kick, the same, annoying kick.
Oh, okay.
Back short. He has a down back fierce, or down fierce is like it's kind of like this short. It's just like his down back fierce in 4, where it gives you a lot of frame advantage.
Okay.
But yeah, for the most part, he's up close. Obviously, that's always his weakness. But at range, he has a new anti-air, the one that goes up forward with fierce. That one's pretty good. On counter hit, you get like a juggle. So he is a lot different. But that's what I like about Street Fighter V. A lot of the old characters are a lot different now. Like they revamped.
I really like what they've done with Zangief. Like it's such a sort of a subtle change, but being able to combo being able to combo into pile drivers and super as well is a great thing. Like the air grab's insane. Really like that as well. That's hype.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they've really subtly changed a lot of the obvious archetypes, which I quite like. For me, Street Fighter V is just I as a Street Fighter 4 player, when I played 5, I didn't enjoy it because it's so different, and getting used to the mindset of how to play it and how they want you to play it is really weird. But I think it'll live or die by sort of a lot of the frame stuff in the game. It seems like you need to be up close all the time and pressing buttons, so frame advantage seems to be really important. But then you haven't got a great deal of sort of footsie tools in terms of like long range limbs, and a lot of the long range stuff is really slow. Like using Ken, frame trapping people with standing fierce is really difficult because that's really slow, and everything else is pretty minus. But then whiff punishing stuff's really hard in the game as well because again you don't have those quick decent range normals to whiff punish things with. So I don't know where it sits yet. Obviously people with fundamental Street Fighter 2 skills will do well at the game because you're still controlling horizontal and vertical using the tools that you have at your availability. But getting past that and getting into a proper meta game, I still have no idea where it's going to sit. It's going to be very interesting to see how people use these tools.
Don't you play Dudley in Street Fighter 4?
I do play Dudley at Street Fighter 4, yeah.
So Dudley wants to be up close most of the time, right?
Yeah.
So shouldn't you like Street Fighter 5? Should you feel comfortable at that range?
It's very different though, because I personally think if Dudley was in Street Fighter 5, he'd be insanely good. Because exactly that's what his archetype's built around. But he's got the ability to confirm into stuff and maintain his pressure. And like throw ranges are good in Street Fighter 4 as well. So like I find it kind of difficult to maintain pressure. For me, like at the moment in the versions of the game that I've played, because the throw range is so short, it's like you press a button, they block because they have no reason not to block at the moment. It's not like you're going to get Kara thrown from there or whatever. So they're just going to block. No one has got a good high-low mix-up, so you're just going to block pretty much. And then to do anything,
real frame trap heavy.
Yeah, it's frame trap the game. So basically, you're going to block and you push yourself out. You're at frame advantage. You're either going to walk in, and it becomes like a mind game of, am I going to walk in and throw you, or am I going to walk in and press another button? If I'm going to walk in and throw you, then I'm going to want to put a button out, like press a jab. Jabs in that game are not for confirming into combos at the moment, from what I've seen. The first build, yeah, you could confirm off jabs into combos, and it was cool, and everyone's having fun, Street Fighter 4 style. But as the builds have gone on, jabs are not for confirming into combos. They're like literally for getting off me. So it seems like when people want to walk in and throw you, you just press jab and stop them. But if you're at frame disadvantage, obviously, if I'm going to walk forward a little bit and then press a button again, then you get sort of that whole sort of mix-up, counter-hit, frame trip heavy game that I think Street Fighter 5 is meant to be. But it's kind of, it used a really good analogy of like fighting in a phone box. That's what it seems like to me. Like just pressing buttons up close and it being very, am I going to press a button? Are you going to press a button? You know how you get in Tekken where I'll do my string, I'm at -5 or something. You're going to press a button. What button's it going to be? Am I going to press a slow one and mix you up with it? Or am I going to press a quick one and catch you out with a string? And it's sort of like that, but really fast, way faster than Tekken is. In that sort of sense of being up close and just pressing buttons, one after the other, and really knowing what your frame advantage is. So that's why I think in this game, the frame balancing is going to be really important, because you're going to need to know your ranges and you're going to need to know your frame advantages, and they're going to be really important from what I've seen anyway.
I mean, like I said previously, I don't have a lot of time. I didn't have a lot of time with the game, and Shady over here can enlighten us on some newer stuff about the game.
Well, am I talking rubbish, Shady, or is that kind of on the money?
Yeah, it does get to, it's very math fightery in a sense. Not only that, from what you said, but also because the 3-frame leniency window, that makes it so well, that's what I like about it, at least, is it lowers the barrier to entry for a lot of players.
Sure.
Because, Street Fighter 4, Street Fighter 4 isn't exactly an easy game. Try to explain to someone who doesn't play Street Fighter how to do DP, FADC, and then pump this 2 fireball motions and then press 3 buttons, right? That's actually kind of advanced if you think about it. But since, we're really accustomed to that stuff, it was easy for us to pick up. But Street Fighter 5, it's more like you can play you can do what you want without feeling limited by mechanics.
Yeah.
So
I can't do that. It's more of your decisions rather than your ability to do something.
Yeah. It comes down to a lot of mind games more than anything. And it does get to a point where it's going to be really important to know disadvantage and advantage. It's very, very, very polished in that way. So from this range, he whips this move, or I block this move. I know I have a 3-frame jab or a 4-frame short or whatever, and you're gonna press in 4. You had to be precise. You had to either have a back button plink, to punish something like that, or you just had to be a god. In 5, it's just knowing what to press will land you that punish. So that's what I like about it, and that's going to help a lot in net play. And I think net play is where the future is at for a game like this.